welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies. An interesting movie, I think is a good way to put this. It's 1978's Toolbox Murders. Dennis Donnelly directed this.
Yeah, apparently this is the only movie ever that he's directed.
Yeah, there's like a lot of TV stuff. The A-Team, Hawaii Five-0, and Simon & Simon. It stars Cameron Mitchell, who he was born in 1918.
Yeah.
And he started acting at about 1945 or so. Yeah. So he's been in like a million things. How the West Was Won, Night Gallery episodes he was in. Painting wasn't like that before.
Back, Jeremy! Back in the painting we belong!
Pamelyn Ferdin is in it. And she was in a lot of TV too. She was in a Star Trek episode, the original series, and the 70's TV version of Lassie.
I never got behind Lassie. I never got the appeal of Lassie.
Neither did I, yeah.
It's fucking boring. So Toolbox Murders starts out very, very good, actually. You're in the vantage point of a person driving this car. It looks great. The colors are good. Cinematography's good. The lighting is great.
The mood, it sets the mood.
Good. Yeah, it's nice and dark, but then the vibrant neon signs and stuff. There's flashbacks happening to this accident that has happened in the past, which we find out about more later. And then we go to this apartment complex, where basically this guy in a balaclava and a toolbox and a trench coat just goes on a rampage and starts killing good-looking women. Very bloody. That 70's that paint-looking blood. One classic scene. It's so over the top where the good-looking woman is masturbating in the tub. And
he all turns the music up, you know, and it's all that weird country 70s stuff.
So these murders happen. It shows the balaclava guy go to, like, his last victim. A girl, Lori. Her brother comes back and sees a Pepsi bottle tipped over. She's missing. At this point, you don't know if she's dead or if she's kidnapped.
The cops, they come on scene, right? And they're pretty much useless, you know.
The cops in this movie are completely useless. That interrogation scene with Laurie's brother.
Yeah, he's all frustrated and everything. You're the cop. Shouldn't you know a little more? So anyways, Laurie's brother, Joey, kind of tries to take it upon himself to sort of find her. So while he's kind of going through the apartments trying to get clues and stuff like that, he runs into the landlord's nephew, which is Kent. He was kind of sent by the landlord to kind of clean up the gore and all this.
And they find the dildo.
He's all
he throws it at him. Ew, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's like, that's disgusting, yet there's all this blood and all this shit
all the
everywhere.
blood you gotta clean up.
They end up getting to be pretty good friends. We find out that Laurie's been kidnapped. We do learn why, and it's because the kidnapper, he's trying to replace his daughter. Joey, you know, he's doing a little more investigating, and he finds a toolbox. She starts seeing these tools with, you know, a bit of blood or whatever. They're not drenched in blood, but he sees little, I guess, specks and stuff like that. Well, needless to say, he gets his. He ends up getting lit on fire for... you know, for finding this shit. So that pretty much leaves Kent to, you know, basically be the hero in all of this, right?
Yeah, he's the only one left to go track down Laurie and rescue her.
Yeah.
There's a lot of twists and turns at the end, a lot of things that happen that would, if you haven't seen it before, would give away too much. So what can we say about Toolbox Murders as a whole? It's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it definitely has its flaws. You know.
But the good things we're gonna mention is that whole opening sequence is really cool.
Yeah, but I wish they would have kept that tone for the whole movie, right? Because it does change. Yeah. And it loses, you know, a bit, right?
The killings are very good.
Yes.
They're very gory.
Yeah.
A lot of nudity, so if you're into exploitation type films, this is probably right up your alley.
Yeah, especially like you mentioned, the girl in the tub, and you see her, you know, her boobs are all hanging out and stuff. So.
There are slasher films where there's the reveal who the murderer is. But in this, it happens halfway through the movie, which is kind of different. And then there's more twists yet to happen.
Yeah, see, there's a scene early on which, you know, the killer kind of puts his balaclava on.
It's all crooked.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if that's, like, on purpose or not, or what. He's kind of mashing it all up. And it's like, you do see a little bit too much of his face
to
there,
know
you know?
who it
It's
is.
It does kind of remind me of, like, Homer when he puts... that sock thing on.
Reminds me of that scene in Columbo. William Shatner does a robbery in that balaclava and you super know it's him underneath. Just because.
Yeah. Cameron Mitchell. I was saying earlier, this guy reminds me of like a Wayne Newton / William Shatner type guy.
His eyebrows look like they're painted on.
Yeah.
Speaking of Cameron Mitchell, he is probably the best part of this movie as far as casting goes. He's really good.
You know, I hate to mention some of the bad things, but kind of, I think the pacing.
That's my biggest issue with the movie is the pacing.
All the killings in the beginning.
Yeah,
like, and right in, like, what, the first
half
10?
hour. Yeah.
15 minutes or
Yeah.
something? And then that's it.
Then it's all talking and plot
Yeah.
and boring scenes like that.
Why aren't there more killings later? Like,
because it's all action and exciting stuff in the first, like, 15, 20 minutes. And then it's nothing. There's a reveal in the middle, but then there's more nothing. And then at the end, it kicks way up, and it's like...
yeah. By that point, well, you're too late. I think
Yeah.
you've already lost the audience,
Yeah.
you know, that way through. Music is interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's good, but it's interesting.
It's an interesting use of music more so than anything.
Because during all the kills, it's kind of like there's no score. It's whatever the person who's being murdered happens to be listening to at the time on the radio.
Yeah.
So it's all this weird, like, 70's country folk music and these brutal killings.
It's kind of like a yin and a yang sort of thing.
It doesn't work horror-wise, but it works in a way where it's realistic. Where, if someone's being murdered and they happen to be listening to cheesy country music, well, that's what they happen to be listening to.
Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let me just change the record here.
Yeah, let me put on something more scary while you're being murdered.
Everybody seems like overly feeble in this movie, like during the killings and stuff. They just kind of, and just lay there and just get killed.
Who'd recommend this movie to? I think anyone who likes, 70's slashers and exploitation type films.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes to mind for some reason, which is a bit of a segue into Tobe Hooper directed the remake of this.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great.
I don't remember much of it, to be honest.
It was completely different. The only thing that's similar is that the killings are happening in an apartment complex. The killer's like a monster that lives in the walls and shit.
I kind of wish Tobe Hooper did the original.
Yeah, he would have done a good job.
I think he would have done a really good job.
And I think there's a sequel to the remake, too.
Is there really?
Yeah. It's definitely worth checking out. Even for the last 20 minutes, it's pretty...
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
For Cameron Mitchell's performance at the end. Fornicators! Check it out. Toolbox Murders.